So if you're feeling mentally drained, you can't focus, you're constantly struggling with brain fog, it's not just bad luck. It's most probably your diet. Eating a diet containing carbs, cereals, processed foods are very detrimental for your brain. And then, on top of that, if you don't give your brain the right fats and nutrients to actually work properly, you're just setting up yourself for a disaster. And unfortunately, I did this for many years. But when I learned these things, which I will talk about today, my mindset towards diet totally flipped. And today I feel sharp as a tack. And I'm not naturally been this way. I felt stupid and low intelligence all my life. I had just terrible ability to focus on anything, and I truly felt that my brain was broken for most of my childhood and teenage years. But after starting a proper human diet, a species appropriate diet, everything changed for me, and I want the same thing for you if you're struggling with this. Personally, I like to think about what our ancestors did because they were absolutely thriving. And if you think about how humans survived as hunters and gatherers, just think how competent all humans were when it came to surviving. In the wilderness, if you're hunting, you need to be sharp. During the ice age, when it's cold, you're low on food, and you need to hunt big game, you need to be thriving in all ways possible. And even then, the odds are against you surviving. But somehow our ancestors did. And there's something different that they did because they were really sharp. They were somehow able to survive all of those tough times. And today, I think the opposite is true. Like, most people have very bad mental health, a hard time concentrating, a very low attention span. And if you compare that to our ancestors, like, our ancestors were very competent. And there's a few things that has happened during the last 10,000 years that has led us to this place. And one of those things is agriculture. Because one of the reasons why Homo sapiens have been successful is because we have evolved eating a proper human diet. One which is very rich in animal fats and nutrients, not grains, lots of carbohydrates and other processed garbage that most people eat today. Like, your brain is not designed to run on carbs, processed foods and junk food. And it's really paying the price if you're living this way. And if you want to fix this, keep on watching. And personally, I think it's very sad that most people are not eating a proper human diet and experiencing all of these benefits of having a brain and body that actually works. Most people have so much potential which they're just not capitalizing on. And everything makes a lot of sense to me now, but this is really something I've been thinking about for a few years now, because I was a few years ago, along my studies, I was working part-time as a teacher, and to see kids and teenagers having a very hard time concentrating and very bad learning disabilities was very worrying to me. And when you look at the stats today, you can ask any teacher, ADHD, autism, depression, all types of different disorders relating to the brain, they have exponentially risen during the last decades. And the diet is, I think, the biggest factor to this. Of course, social media usage of kids is probably also a part, is probably playing some part. But I've seen several cases where kids have been having ADHD or autism symptoms, and then switching to a proper human diet where they've been eating very much whole foods, animal fats and meat has actually reversed their symptoms of ADHD or something. So what you feed yourself has a very big role in how you feel and how your brain works. And a big problem of today's Western type of diet is really that it's very rich in carbohydrate. And carbohydrates mess you up and your brain in several ways. The first one is really the blood sugar roller coaster when you eat carbs. Because especially refined carbs like bread, pasta, sugary snacks, your blood sugar will skyrocket immediately when you ingest that. But what goes up must come down, and the crash will always follow, and that will really leave your brain scrambling for energy, causing brain fog, fatigue, and poor focus. And over time, this constant spike and crash in blood sugar will also lead to insulin resistance, which is really bad for you in several ways. But one of the things it does is that it makes it harder for your brain to use glucose for energy efficiently. And that is when you develop chronic brain fog. And another big problem with a lot of carbohydrates is mitochondrial overload. And I think many doctors today overlook this because the energy factories in your cells is the mitochondria. And when you eat too much sugar in forms of carbs, you are just overwhelming your mitochondria, and instead of creating clean energy like you would from animal fats, your cells, they become stressed, and this will lead to oxidative damage. And stress and inflammation from all these carbohydrates coupled with your mitochondria getting damaged will naturally result in a tired, foggy brain that can't stay sharp. And unfortunately, most people live this way, and I lived this way for most of my life. And another point I want to make is really the inflammation from seed oils and all different side effects they could have that isn't really researched. Because seed oils like canola oil, soybean oil, found in almost every processed food, cause a lot of inflammation in your body and brain. And when you constantly eat seed oils, you will develop chronic inflammation, and that will of course just disrupt the brain signaling, making it a lot harder to just focus, remember things, or even stay awake. And how bad seed oils actually are for your brain and body is not fully known yet, but I've seen a lot of people talk about Alzheimer's being type 3 diabetes because it's basically insulin resistance in your brain, and it's caused by too much sugar. But I am very sure that seed oils and processed foods play a major role in this as well. Okay, so then we know that carbohydrates, seed oils, sugar, processed foods, they're bad for your brain and health. That should be pretty obvious by now. So what should you really be feeding your brain and body for your health to be the best? And your body is really designed to eat nutrient-dense animal-based foods, so a proper human diet. So your brain thrives on healthy fat from red meat, eggs, fish, other animal products, which provide you with a very stable energy source and reduced inflammation. And when you cut out all the rest, so the processed foods, carbs, seed oils, you will immediately notice a big lift in brain fog, and your body and brain will over time just naturally start working like they should, and you will start to feel like a proper human like you should as well. And it's really that simple. Start a proper human diet and cut out all the rest. But I also have a few extra tips if you really want to optimize your brain and how you feel when you've taken care of your diet. And of course, sleeping well is of course critical. So, improving your sleep will of course improve everything in your life. I think that goes without saying. But other things like meditation, and to really do it consistently on a daily basis, that can really reduce stress, making you sleep better, make better decisions, and really sharpen your focus. And then overall, staying hydrated, taking your electrolytes, making sure that, you have a very good balance of your electrolytes, salting your food properly. That is also very important for your neurons to fire properly. And then a very classic thing is, of course, to move your body. Regular physical activity will boost blood flow to the brain, keeping you sharp, and it will have lots of different effects on you as well. And all of these things, they kind of go hand in hand. When you exercise, when you sleep well, when you eat a proper human diet, you meditate, everything kind of starts flowing, and they improve each other, and you start slowly but surely building up a very strong brain and body. So I hope you found this video valuable, and if you know someone who's struggling with mental health, having brain fog, a hard time concentrating, something that could be related to the brain, some sort of disorder, please consider sharing this with them, and consider liking the video and subscribing so we can get this message across to more people, because I think it's so important that people actually start waking up and getting the right knowledge so they can improve their lives. The carnivore diet absolutely changed my life, and I want the same thing for everyone else. So thank you very much for watching, and if you want to keep on learning about the carnivore diet, I would watch this video next. Otherwise, eat meat, take care, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.